Hey guys, welcome back to another analysis of my tournaments, this time of Aurora Open number 1. If you want to find the full unedited recordings of these matches, I'll post those down in the description, as well as my deck lists if you want to check those out also. So this tournament, I brought Green Blue Beasts, Green Blue Jump, the Crassius list, and then Mono Green Beastmaster. And this was kind of a meta pick because of what I experienced in the last tournament in the Seasonal Cup, because a lot of people were playing mechs and red-yellow things. Not a lot of Nightmare or Frogify in the game anymore. I was a little worried that I would run into blue, because blue does sometimes run Frogify, but I didn't run into a single blue deck this tournament, which was very surprising, but this is what helped me get to first place. Very good pick to bring the Beastmaster. It's just these chonky stats are so difficult to deal with without hard removal. Like, mechs want to clear your board. It's kind of a control deck, and Beastmaster is a very difficult board to clear, so that's how that worked out. But you'll see throughout the matches how well these decks do. So my first match was against djmcfly. He was a new player. He said that he had only played for about 2 weeks. So really these matches just came down to experience. So I'll just quickly go through them. But for the bans, I was looking at the Chaos. I mean, I don't know, Chaos is kind of frightening, but mainly I was concerned about this one because of the high average Faeria cost. I assumed that this was probably bargain things. So that's the one that I banned. He banned my Crassius. And Green Blue Jump pretty much did Green Blue Jump things. I don't know if there's much of a point in talking about it, but with Green Blue Jump, you do Green Blue Jump things. You jump to the wells, build bigger and bigger stats, bigger creatures, eventually hitting into face. The second match was a little bit more interesting. He played a neutral rush, which is always fun to see, with like the royal cards, like King's Faithful and the Taunt guy. So that was always exciting to see, but generally neutral creatures are easy to trade off stats with, get value trades on. So that's pretty much what happened. Cleared his board, and then we got to the end, grabbed some tea, and hit into face. So, yeah, again, this is pretty much it just comes down to experience. Really awesome to see new players in tournaments, though. I'd love to see more new players participate. So really, like, the only some tips I could give to like newer players is depends what you want to do. I mean, if you just want to have fun, bring your own decks. That's awesome to do as well. But if you want to maybe be slightly more competitive, I'd recommend checking out the Faeria hub. Well, let's go there right now. I might as well show it. So if you go to faeria.com/the-hub/decks, you get to this page, and you can scroll down. There's a whole bunch of deck lists here. Usually in these square brackets, people post their tournament matches. Like, people in the top 3 or 4 usually post their deck lists from the tournaments. So this is a really good resource for newer players. You won't be able to put your own deck lists in here. Unfortunately, the account system's a little broken, but you can at least view other people's decks. So that's a super useful tool. But really, the best tip I could possibly give is play decks that you're experienced with. I think meta decks are kind of important to do well with starting off. Once you get a little bit more experience, then you can start dabbling in your own creations to do well. But again, if you want to just have fun with it, that's kind of the whole purpose, is to have as much fun as you can with this game. So, you know, do whatever you want. So, on to the next round. This time against Noaphiel. And I already knew his lineup because we kind of played some matches together. So I banned immediately the Aurora deck. This is because it had Istanu, and it was very spooky to me, and I knew that the rest of my lineup could beat the rest of his lineup. Yax was really the only concern that I had. My lineup's really good against mono green, I felt. You could see that he also quickly banned my green-blue jump. This is red control. I had no concern with it at all because beasts, well, before banning, I didn't know that jump was going to get banned, but I had 3 decks that could easily counter it, in my opinion. Same with the green. I feel like beasts, well, maybe not Beastmaster. This is probably a weaker matchup, but the beasts and the Crassius could definitely fight this. Same with green-blue jump. Yax was then the only like moderate concern for me, but I felt that this deck was a lot more difficult to deal with, so that's why I did those bans. Deciding what deck to play first, I needed a counter to red control because red control I felt would be strong against Crassius. I think Crassius is still quite strong against this, but I knew he was going to rush me because that was kind of what he played against me before. So it was kind of like a sketchy matchup, but I knew that these were sort of like the Beastmaster and Beast were a guarantee for fighting this one, so I wanted to save these counters for this deck. Also, the mono green, I think Beasts is my best opportunity. I think like if he draws the Tree of Everlife early, my Crassius might struggle. I think that is like Crassius is generally favored, but I think Beast is almost a guarantee win. So I wanted to save these, this one at least, yeah, these 2 for counter decks. I think Beastmaster's reasonable against Yax as well. I teched in some Voice of Truths into this list because of meta cards. I saw that there was some Soul Eaters actually coming out in some people's lists. There's these Yax. There was the Firebringers before, Monk, the Yellow Spectre. So a lot of things that Voice of Truth does well against, and it especially is going to do well against the Sapphire Yak, I think. So I wanted to start with Crassius because I felt that I needed these 2 as counter decks. He led with the mono green, which I'm pretty happy about. All I didn't want to see was the red, really. For the mulligan, I'm playing first. So I probably want to keep the Biomancer here. I don't really remember what I did. Yeah. Keep the Biomancer, but then I draw into 2 Crassius, which is an unfortunate hand. Yeah, so I keep Biomancer going first because I can build those lands a little bit quicker than going second. But drawing into these 2 Crassius is awkward because Biomancer only wants to draw into Crassius or Maginata. So we kind of lose some value on our Biomancer, but that's okay. He starts with this play, which is a little odd to me. Not sure what this accomplishes. I guess he kind of wants to rush and contest me early, but like putting this Seed of Paradise here, it wants to go backwards to collect. So I don't know, it just feels a bit odd to me. But I get my first Crassius down. I know that he's not running Deepwood Stalker, so I'm really safe to play these Crassius just as collectors. But yeah, like this land placement, the forest could have been over here towards the collection. If he was just going to do this anyways. But maybe he had some reasoning for that. Here, I have the option to step up, which I think is a good play. I think Summer pointed that out in the casting. This match was casted on Twitch. But I decided not to. I think I was thinking, like, maybe I want to retreat this in the future, but, I mean, all he has to do is put an aggressive creature there, really. And so there's the Tyrian Golem coming down. I top deck a Recruiter. Like, I would be a little scared of this at first, but once I top deck the Recruiter, that gives me just so much Swarm to clog my face, which is what I do here. Yeah, one thing that this deck excels at is just blocking face with Swarm, which is why it's pretty decent against Mono Green, because Mono Green generally has a difficult time dealing with Swarm, so all I have to do is clog my face up with all these creatures, hold them off long enough in order to get my combo off. Biomancer in this spot is important because it gives me a sort of illusionist line off this way, or it gives me the option to collect. Also putting the 3/4 here I like because I've got this Aurora in hand. I have the option to buff this in the future. So we're just maximizing stat efficiency here. So he plays the 3/4 teleport, but again, like, because I've got this defensive land set up here, I'm feeling so safe. Like, I am quite confident I can win this matchup now. Octopus is really excellent against mono green, not so good against the 3/4 because I want to play this as a 7/3, but the 3/4 makes me a bit timid there. So this decision, I have the option to Illusionist to get 7 damage in here, or I have the option to Aurora. And I was debating between the two. I decided to go for Aurora in the end because I felt that it was more beneficial to have my the 6/1 Rakoan afterwards survive. I thought that was really important. Illusionist, there's one thing to say about Illusionist, because it's only costing 1, I would have had closer access to Majinata next turn. But here I just trade in the Crassius, and then we're gonna Aurora. I don't want to put Aurora off to the left because it's not being very interactive being on the left. I kind of want it in the fight. Again, clogging my face from this aggressive forest. But I also don't want to get a value trade with this 3/4, so I block with the Crassius, making it really difficult for him to get value trades there. Noah, hey! Don't stream. I'm just making analysis on my plays. So Noah, I was curious about the aggressive forest. Like in the earlier play you played Explore Forest. I was curious about that. Oh, and I say amazing because I top deck Frog Tosser, so it's over now. But yeah, it's gonna be difficult. So I did have the Illusionist clear here, but Tosser just put so many creatures on the board. Seed for aggressive land. Okay, you were trying to like fly it up or something. So Crassius, I feel that he plays red here because red is the best chance of beating this one. So this is a ridiculous hand. Recruiter plus Illusionist. Keep the Biomancer because it draws into Crassius. I think the reasoning I was debating not playing this is because this matchup, I don't necessarily want to play Crassius actually, because I knew that he was going to rush me. So Crassius is a little bit too slow here. I want to just get value with Illusionist and Frog Tossers in this matchup. So that was the consideration for holding Biomancer, but it is an Illusionist target, and it does have 3 life, so I decided to keep it in the end. Yeah, lineup was not great against Crassius. I think you don't want to play the matchup slower. I think if you go slower, I win, because I'm not going to play into Garridan. I'm aware of Garridan's existence, and I'm not going to play into it by playing all my Crassius, but I think rushing's the right thing to do. So he gets the clear on the Recruiter, which is pretty decent. Blocks this value trade. But I do have the Illusionist. So I want to build up now sort of like defensive lands. Why did I build this one? I think I wanted to put the Illusionist here, but I didn't want him to play like, I don't know, something in range of the Illusionist. I wanted the option to block the Illusionist with something. I knew that the 2/2 would be stepping up eventually in range of the 1/1, which could get a value trade. So I wanted this defensive land set up for a block. This is a mistake what I do here though, I think. I go to the center tile because I'm thinking that, you know, I block this land spot, I block a creature from being developed, but I play into Rakoa Copter range like this. which I realize now because I want to play that Carassius, but now I'm like, oh crap, where do I put it? This guy should have dashed like up here, probably, to take the value, and then my 1/1 would be safe from a Rhocoacopter line. Yeah, I mean the game. I mean, I don't think it's especially over because you do have a lot of control-y options. I guess I don't know what your hand is either though, but this, yeah, this gives you a really nice clear. I think the mountain going aggressive was a bit better, but maybe you're trying to go for branch out your lands for copter lines. But yeah, I've got an easy turn here. Play the Biomancer on the opposite side, out of range of the 3. This is actually a really good stat line against this matchup because only Flame Burst kills it, which is kind of awkward. You don't want to throw a Flame Burst into a 1/3 Biomancer. Yeah, I'm starting to gain momentum here. So let's fast forward a bit. So I want to put this Biomancer in range of the 3/3 because of this Illusionist that I have. So what I do here is build a leg up to sort of start building my lands towards a double collection position. I can somewhat maybe bait that I am gonna move this towards double collection, and maybe he doesn't expect the Illusionist, but that's pretty much the consideration there. I think here I block with Carassius. Yeah, I figure I might as well. This gets the Carassius out. This is one of my Carassius. This is 2 of my Carassius down though. So I only have 1 copy left. But again, as I said, Carassius isn't exactly my win condition in this matchup. I want to be just trading, making efficient trades with Illusionists and Frog Tossers. So I don't mind so much if these Carassius die. I split them, again, to play around Copter or Firestorm. And this one over here puts it in a double collection position. So I don't feel forced to have this die off. But yeah, I do have a second Illusionist, which is annoying. But finds a Copter, hit, which I'm fine with because this is only 3 damage. So now that I get to double collect and Illusionist, I think this is kind of the game-winning sort of turn here. So we Lore Thief to search for more stuff. There's a Frog Tosser. I mean, I think this plays a little bit heavily into Ground Shaker. Illusionist, of course, onto this. This is, of course, the line. So Illusionist. But then I play Recruiter. So if he did have Ground Shaker, he could have hit in Ground Shakered. It's not the worst because my Carassius still survives as a double collector. But it's not the best either, because now I've got this 5/6 Ground Shaker at face. So I think I could have avoided playing the 3/4 there, just saved up Faeria. Yeah, so this is pretty much over. I think we can fast forward. There's a, yeah, okay. Frog Tosser into Surrender. So the last matchup is the Yaks. So this one, Yaks could potentially be fast enough to beat Carassius if I draw a poor hand, which can happen. But, I mean, I'm 2 games up now, so feeling pretty confident. Toss the Tosser. Lore Thief's a starting creature, and then again I've got the Biomancer for Carassius things. Lore Thief's just been a champion in this deck. It's a new addition for me. It used to be Water Ellie, but I replaced the Water Ellies with Lore Thieves because Water Ellie was a really weak card, I felt. You only want to ramp with it, and then once you've got your 3 legs, you never want to play the Water Ellie because it's just 4 Faeria investment that doesn't help your combo whatsoever. So Lore Thief's really excellent. Can even fail to the Lore Thief, so that's really nice. So here I'm just going to continue my march towards double collection. And then I set up Biomancer on this lake, which is really important because this is an illusionist line to threaten these 2 squares, or 2 hexes. The only removal he runs is command, I think. So I knew that this was probably safe. I mean, if it gets commanded, it gets commanded, but I think this is a really strong spot for that illusionist line. Play the Crassius to fight the 4-2 because I don't want to run illusionists into this if I don't have to. Double illusionist both matchups. Kind of like you paid Abracad. The thing is like the lore thieves let me dig for all of these answers, reducing that sort of RNG. So this was kind of interesting. I guess you don't want the Crassus to hit in here, but really unfortunate that the buffs aren't built up with the double neutrals. So this is a pretty easy illusionist. Oh, right, this turn. Yeah, this turn was just gross. So I have the fail. I top decked failed, which lets me failed into Maginata. That's costs me 7 Faeria. I'll have 1 left to play the illusionist to get this efficient clear. So this is just a gross turn. Build the forest up here just to secure those double collection lands, but I'm gonna dash across my lore thief. Value trade there, value trade here. So that was pretty game winning from that position. Yeah, I think so. Like the yak, the Oversky yak was a bit of a mistake in my opinion, just because it was in illusionist range. Yeah, the Maginata was really game winning. So there's the command finally. So I'm not gonna probably get collections. Okay, so this turn, I think I could have played a little bit better. I want to deal with this 4-2. It's at my face, so we want to trade into that. I get my Maginata to spawn anyways. But here, so Noah built these double neutrals, which is kind of a tell that he's got a yak attack coming. I mean, he's on 6 Faeria. He gets to yak attack next turn. So my line here that I'm considering is either collecting, stepping across collecting with the Biomancer, or playing Illusionist to get this value trade. But the problem is, if I play Illusionist here, he gets to yak attack and get a value trade on my Illusionist. Also gets to clean up the Biomancer once it's traded in here. And then he can use the other yak to block my collection. So that was a really obvious line that I could have played around, but I play the Illusionist here. This 2-3 doesn't pose any threat to me because it's not a yak, so it can't ever get charge. It can't ever get mobility to threaten me in any way. So I should have just stepped the Biomancer across to collect and then passed. I guess I was concerned about getting this double collector, but it's just such a huge play into yak attack. Yeah, so he does do the yak attack, which is what I could have played around a little better. He sets up these double neutrals so that he gets his yak into double collection. I don't know if that was as important. A +1 could have just happened, and then he gets the extra collection anyways. I mean, I've got Crassius Creation in hand. I've lost a little bit of board pressure now because of that line, but I'm pretty confident I can stabilize from here. So I play Biomancer. One as a collector and one to contest this yak. Although, I guess I'm just playing Crassius. I mean, yeah. I've got 2 Crassius in hand, so I don't really feel that bad about playing more. So I just play one there, play one there. He trades it off. So this gives me a lot of time just to set up. I've got 2 creations, Crassius, so not much Noah can do here anymore. pretty much over. The Imaginata turn was really huge. So let's move on to ASDG's match. Well, I'll try to go a little bit speedier through this because there's a lot of matches. But this was a lineup. You want a rematch? This was a lineup. I was very concerned with this when I first saw it because I was like, I was thinking that maybe there was a lot of Rakoan things, and my lineup is particularly weak against Swarm, I feel. Like Rakoan things I think would be strong. So I was super spooked, and I was like, oh god, which one do I ban here? So if your opponent has like a lineup like this, your only tells of what decks they are by the colors and the Faeria costs. So you really have to decide what your lineup is weak against. And I felt my lineup would be weak against a standard Rakoans list. That would be my biggest threat. So I'm looking at these numbers, and I see that the 3.6 list has 2 lakes in it. All the other ones have like 15, 13. So that's the reasoning that I ban the 3.6, the 3.6. I mean, it takes me a bit to decide, but so other things to consider, the one with the green in it, buffs and things, large green things, I feel I have a really good matchup against. Again, as I talked about earlier, like Beasts is really good. Beasts Jump are both really good against green things. Even Beastmaster is good against buffs because I have the Voice of Truth tech-ins. But yeah, pretty much I banned this one because I think it's closest to Rakoans, although it does have 14 deserts, so I don't really think that's close to Rakoans. But I don't expect Frogify in 4-color decks, so Frogify is no concern with these blues. I think the blue is just my best consideration to go for there. Yeah, no, it's not classic Rakoans because of the 14 deserts. That's weird, but that was kind of my thinking. I don't know. There was a few thoughts, like it's difficult to ban. That was one of my considerations, I guess. But yeah, that's true. Illusionist plus Recruiter is already 6. That's a good thing to point out. So this isn't really standard Rakoans at all. But I banned it anyways. I don't know. It was really difficult to pick here. I guess in hindsight, like, I mean, ASDG pointed out that this was the correct ban, so I'm glad that I picked it, but this one I didn't want to ban. Like, what is the ban here? This one has red things, which, again, red I'm not concerned with. So maybe the 3.5 is one that I want to ban instead. I don't know. So I was considering keeping the Stalker because I'm not really sure what he's doing, but he might have, like, small things, but I decided to full scoop because I want to try and find Beastmaster opener hand or, like, any starting creature at all. I do find the Beastmaster plus a Willow, really strong opener. He drops a Faeria tree, which I'm like, okay. I guess he's playing combo and I'm going to have to really push hard. I am very aware that I don't have enough time to fight this and kill it off, but my thinking time here is whether I want to fight his same side or go opposite. And if he's doing combo things, he probably has a weaker sort of creature base, I guess, so that's why I'm wanting to fight same side here. Sort of contest his creatures, I don't know. So I've got a Beastmaster into Willow here. Not a massive point in playing this just yet, but I mean, just play it anyways, why not? Maybe he finds removal for this somehow. I still don't know entirely what he's doing. But because he is doing these combo things, I need to push as fast as possible using double neutrals. Ulani. OP card. Finds the second tree. So we're just going to push up as aggressive as possible. I do find the Time of Legends, but Aridin is way too slow. Because he's playing combo, I need to put as much pressure as quickly as possible. And so Summer was questioning whether you'd Stalker here. In my opinion, I do, because like I know he's on 17 Faeria now, and I'm probably not going to be able to deal with that. Well, I might be able to deal with this one. But with these combo sort of decks, I've found that every collection still matters, even though he's on like 15 Faeria. I find that it still matters to deny that collection. I also, like, my hand, I've got enough Faeria and stuff to play the Stalker. Like, it's not really hurting me to not play it, so I think it's a good reason. Also, because he's doing combo, he might not even have collectors to back up. But, you know, he finds triple windfall. So he's on 18. No way I'm going to get to this Faeria tree in time. So he's on 28 Faeria. Very spooky. Boar is really nice because I get to dash. And then just drop everything I possibly can at face. That's the plan here, and really difficult for him to deal with. Also, against these sort of combo OTK decks, you want to try and step on as many lands as possible of your opponent. So Boar is really excellent because I can dash onto lands. Because if he wants to Rubiak OTK, I haven't given him a lot of space to set that up. But then he plays Cannon Carrier, and I'm like, what? What's going on? There's mech things. And he pulls off this Detonate sort of line. But, like I said, I brought this deck to sort of counter mechs. So this is like an inefficient mech deck. Which is nice. So he finds, like, this is would be a really strong turn if I was playing a different deck. Because he finds Cannoneer into Airbot into double Detonate, but even with all of that, like, green high life stats just kind of steamrolls. So here I'm considering like getting a value trade on the 2/4. I think it's important. I know that he's just played 2 Detonates, so pretty unlikely he draws a third. But I feel like I might as well play around it in case of that top deck. And then I've got a follow-up with the Living Willow. Yeah, he's card starving with 3 windfalls, 2 trees. Yeah. And I can protect the 6/1 with the Living Willow. Like, there was an option to hit face, but I don't know. I felt it was good to do that. This denies him more Faeria collections. He's on 21. Doesn't matter. I still feel I might as well. I could have just hit face there. But he finds chaos. All right, so I want to use my feed on the Willow. It's not really doing much for me, so I take a value on the Airbot, deny that collection a little bit, or like future Detonate lines, so that I can feed. Could have also just hit face there, but I'm all about the control, you know. So thankfully I find a Therian Golem, which is what I need in this position. Really durable against this chaos. And that's it. Yeah. Alright, so next match, other Rakoan deck. Again, I'm not really sure what to expect. So I think I keep a Stalker here just to fight stuff. Maybe I toss it. No, I keep it. Just to fight like a small collector, I guess. Yeah. And then I find the same turn, or the same sort of opening hand as last turn. We've got the Beastmaster into Willow. So let's fast forward. This is kind of a similar situation. Things only get exciting once we get to the end game. He plays Lake here, which was odd to me, but like in the end, it worked out. He was just trying to build up a defensive land setup. This sort of triangle formation, which is what you want to do as a combo deck. You want to slow down my land progression as much as possible while still building your special lands. Let's fast forward. So he's just building this defensive land setup. Continue marching my forest forward. This land is really important for him because it stops any aggressive forest. It stops me from playing any aggressive forest. So I really need to find Ancient Boar if I want to drop that aggressive forest. Because this is going to slow me down a ton. I make a bit of a mistake here in my opinion. I put the forest over on the left side, but I really don't need the collection. I'm on 15 Faeria and I need to... One, I need to get as much aggression to face as possible, but also if this is Rubiak OTK, I need more creatures to step on his land. So I really wanted to build this forest. Just to drop another creature. Like, I can put the Beastmaster aggressive. It's not under any threat. And then I can step 2 things onto his lands. No need to collect with this. So let's fast forward. He plays Wild Growth to get that forest. Lore Thief to block with. So I think this is kind of another mistake because, well, yeah. Willow Feed, that's not a mistake, but I double neutral to get this collection, which, again, like, I've awkwardly set this Beastmaster up to try and get the collection, so now I'm feeling kind of like I need to build the double neutral, but again, I just want to build these, like, aggressive lands and push into face, or even in this position, I want to be drawing cards, I guess, for, like, Ancient Boar or something. Yeah, I mean, combo things just do combo, like, you have to push super aggressive, and, like, if the RNG is in their favor, they can just get the combo off. Yeah, the Ancient Beastmaster on left side was just a mistake from the very beginning. That should have gone aggressive. That would have just solidified my win, but I very easily could have lost by not doing that play. He's now found the bird ship, which is an enabler for the combo. He doesn't manage to find it here. This Biomancer draws him nothing, which is unfortunate. I think Summer pointed it out as well that he should have Biomancered first and then Storytellered. But yeah, he doesn't find combo. Thank God for me. So I have an option. Yeah, I just command this so that I get to build the aggressive forest. I've got the teleport in hand, so I can go face with the 7-11, and then yeah, I just feed the Willow to try and search for more stuff. There's a boar, which is nice. I'm on 21 Faeria. Like I said, this Beastmaster to the left was so pointless. I have so much Faeria. I should boar first, right? Well, it doesn't matter. So I teleport here. I'm considering going face with both, but there's no point. Like, this is the combo piece enabler, the only possible way that he wins, I think. So we trade off into the bird ship. I mean, it sets up lethal next turn anyways. There's... Like, if I don't kill him this turn, it doesn't matter. He puts in the well played, so I know that that was a correct decision. I know that I've won. But yeah, so this is a win. On to match 3. So obviously this is a full scoop, but I draw into triple Grove Guardian, which isn't that awful. I mean, you'd hope for like a 2 forest card, but 3 forest is absolutely fine. Especially against combo things, you're not really concerned with collections. So let's just jump ahead because this is kind of a similar sort of game. Oh, right, he drops the Crassius. So I guess I'm a little bit spooked there. I used the spider just to deny him collection. I think that killing off the first Crassius is... Like the first Crassius is going to die anyways, now that I have the Grove Guardian there. So killing it off is really good in my opinion. I'm not sure about this double neutral. At least I can build this forest out of taunt range, but like that double neutral was a little bit weird. Oh, you think double neutral was fine? I guess it forces him to build this awkward land. But I don't know, like if I build forest... I guess he just taunts and then blocks my land here. Yeah, fair enough. Actually, double neutral kind of did help out in the end, didn't it? Just because of this Divine Guardian taunt. Not Divine Guardian, Ulani. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, if I didn't double neutral, then he would have been able to land block. That's fair. Yeah. And I build a central land also. It lets me step on the land. I guess he could have like creature blocked, but I don't think that was super important. This is really excellent. Okay, Willow feed, but then so I have the option to Grove Guardian or Tyrian Golem. Grove Guardian's really strong here because I can stop his collection. One of the things I love about mono green is that like other colors deny collection from your opponent by using Flame Burst or like Wind Soldier to kill off the creatures, but mono green can deny collections in other ways by using taunts, which I think is really unique. I mean, obviously unique, but I don't know. I think that's really cool. I'm surprised. I mean, mono green is like, this list is only 5 forests, so it's able to go a little bit faster than most decks, I guess, which is kind of nice. He's on his Crassius lands, finds the Frog Tosser, which I'm not concerned about. There are some interesting plays here coming up now, I guess, but let's jump ahead. Blocking his face with shield mates is really strong because I can't break through it. Also, actually, by the way, once I saw these shield mates come down, this was a huge relief to me because I knew that this wasn't actual Crassius deck. It was kind of just Rakoans with Crassius in it. So this let me breathe a little easier because I didn't need to worry about Crassius so much. Here, I just take this really easy value trade. I know that I'm not going to get in face hits so much. But I saw that 1-3, I really wanted it. So we cleared the tosser with one, cleared that with the other. And then this is taunted, so it can't get a value trade. Against Crassius, it's really important to deny as many collections as possible because the combo is expensive. Crassius plus creation costs 9 Faeria. I mean, like, failed experiment exists, but it's like, without failed, it's still like, it's super expensive. You want to deny collection as much as possible. And I wasn't too concerned about losing that Grove Guardian because I don't have many opportunities. I don't have many openings into face anyways. So the creatures aren't that important. I deny his collector again by his frog trading in. So he just drops a champion, which again I'm pretty happy to see because it means that he has a lot of non-blue creatures in this list that aren't Crassius. Crassius is really my only fear in this matchup. So I've got an Emperor's Command plus Stalker, which is really excellent. That gives me an in to his face. Yeah, I could have the lethal there with teleport. So what I should do here is feed the Stalker to try and find the teleport. So I do this. I want to protect my Grove Guardian from the 7/7. So that's why I put the 10 life there. So we feed Stalker. No teleport. I could have tried to find it, but I just want to secure my lethal. I don't want to take any risks here, because I'm not under any pressure right now. So here, I want to retreat the Grove Guardian because the 1/2 is now in range. It's not being taunted anymore, and like I might as well use this as a collector. There's no reason to kill it off for no reason. It's not doing anything taunting the 7/7 because he has that easy trade, and then 7/7 into the golem. Okay, so he finds a heal. Hopes to survive one more turn. How does he get himself out of this? I remember he did find a way. Oh, he finds Cannoneer, right. Double Cannoneer into the Grove Guardian. So there is a lethal here that Summer pointed out, but I did not see it. I could easily hit face with the Tyrian Golem, feed the Golem, and then hit with the other one, but I did not see that. So that's why I'm thinking so hard about this turn. I'm thinking of Oakling feed. Well, there's no point to that. I don't have a creature, so I draw, but I find the teleport. So I found my own lethal. Easiest lethal ever, right? But I'm thinking too hard about it, I guess. But I found the teleport lethal. Curious if I would have spotted the lethal otherwise. So there's another 3-0 sweep with green. Oh, I haven't played green yet, right? Yeah. But yeah, I was really happy mono green could do that. It was against some strange combo things, but anyways, on to the finals against Amoeba. So I had to wait a little bit for this Amoeba match because they were casting other stuff. So I was kind of bored, and I was like searching through Amoeba's lists on the hub, trying to figure out which one I wanted to ban. So I had a lot of time to think about this, and I really immediately picked this list to ban because I was thinking about it so much. And watching the VOD from him playing. This is Red Angry. I'm like very confident that this is Red Angry, and I have such an easy matchup against this deck, so that's never a ban for me. Like all these green things are really good. Beastmaster's really good. I've got Voice of Truth tech-ins, like I said, which counter the Firebringers. So I feel like this is always a win for me with this lineup. Red-Yellow, again, like I brought the Beastmaster specifically to counter Red-Yellow things. These two decks are good against Red-Yellow things, so I don't want to ban this one. My only two considerations are these two decks. The red-green was a little bit spooky because I had never seen it played before, and I wasn't sure what to expect. I was kind of thinking, well, there could be like Salamander plus Crackthorn. There's Hunt Down plus Grappling Hook. Hunt Down and Grappling Hook is a really scary combo because you can Grappling Hook first, then you can Hunt Down second on the same creature, and then you don't get damaged. You get to make that trade, and then you get to teleport your creature essentially without taking damage. It's a really strong combo, but it is a combo. Like, it requires 3 cards to use. So that made me think that this deck is a little bit on the weaker side. As I pointed out before, green-blue beasts, green-blue jump is really good against green things because of just this one has Octopus, this one and Humbling Vision, this one has Frogify and like buffs to like counter buff. So I was really just concerned about the green-blue, which was the his sort of swarm type of list. Like I mentioned, swarm. I feel like I could have had a reasonable time because I do have Voice of Truth and my decks are a little bit fast. This deck is super slow. So I feel like I had a reasonable time, but I think it was the biggest threat to me. Amoeba bans Carassius? He's thinking about it a little bit. Oh, he bans Jump. Okay. So why do I start with Beastmaster? I feel like Carassius is pretty good against Angry. I feel like Carassius is pretty good against green-red because this is a slower list. I think my only weak matchup potentially is this one. So I don't want to play... I think... So Amoeba led with this deck in his last match. So I think I was kind of predicting him to lead with this one again, maybe. So I didn't want to play Carassius into that. Beasts I wanted to save as a counter deck. I felt that Beasts could more efficient... Well, like... I don't know. I felt like Beastmaster was the deck to save here, really. I guess I was thinking like Beasts was good against the green-red, so I wanted to save this one. But I feel like Beast was probably the deck I wanted to start with here. But I don't know. Anyways, it worked out. But yeah, Amoeba is super red-heavy, and he should have banned the green Beastmaster, but didn't end up banning. I find a Beastmaster in opening hand. Really happy about that. Wait, what did he start with? Oh, he started with the green-red. I think I keep the Tyrian Golem here. I'm not sure why. I'm thinking of keeping this, but then Boar is really awkward, so I want to toss Boar. What am I doing here? I toss Boar. So I keep Tyrian Golem, I guess because I want, like, this 10 life against red-green is devastating, and I think that's why I keep it. Like, it takes 5 turns to get out, but I know that his deck is really slow. So as long as I can build up to this Tyrian Golem, it's a monster to deal with for him. Alright, see ya, Terius. Thanks for dropping by. Would have insta-picked mono green as well. Because you don't want to play your best deck right off the bat. You want to kind of like scout out what they're playing. Because you always have your best deck as a follow-up in case it loses. So cards to watch out for in this matchup are, of course, Hunt Down and Grappling Hook. Hunt Down can't really be avoided because it can hit anywhere on the board, but Grappling Hook's really easy to play around. Grappling Hook's not a very good card in my opinion. just because of how easy it is to play around. Like, but with Hunt Down, it's a little bit devastating a combo. But again, it's a combo, difficult to pull off. But, well, I can play around Hunt Down in this situation, which I do in some way. I realize that if he Hunt Downs, he can hunt down the Beastmaster, so I probably just want to get as much value as I possibly can. So I think I play both the Grove Guardian and Boar here, just to get as much stats as I can out of this Beastmaster before it gets Hunt Downed, which I think is really important because in this sort of matchup, whoever has the bigger stats wins. Like, it's big boys against big boys. Whoever has the bigger stats wins in the end. So even though these are, like, maybe not positioned so well, they'll eventually get themselves into positions where it matters. I don't have to worry about Grappling Hook yet. Grappling Hook is 5 lands. By the way, for those who don't know, I should probably explain, Grappling Hook is a 3-cost card that costs 5 lands, and it gives range to a creature until end of turn. Once it shoots a creature, you have the ability to teleport to an adjacent open land. So that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about playing around. Hey, Minokaro! Welcome! I haven't seen you in a while. A long time. Mono Green's still OP, right? No one was playing it. No one's been playing it for a while, so... Alpanico played it against me one tournament, but it didn't get very far, because I think I just Crassiest into it. So here, on my next turn, he's in Grappling Hook range, so I want to make sure I play around that as much as possible. So this Ancient Boar has this line, so I want to step my Beastmaster back. But again, I still want to, like, sort of play around Hunt Down still, so I want to get out as much beef as I can before Hunt Down comes on this Beastmaster. Also, there's another thing to consider, that Grappling Hook is kind of an inevitable card that's going to come down. So, like, playing the Boar here minorly plays into Grappling Hook, but this is a really bad hook line. So I'm kind of thinking also in the future that I want to set up some actual Grappling Hook targets for him to hit into that are maybe more favorable for me, because Grappling Hook's inevitable. I'd like to just burn that card out of his hand, and I think that's what I do in the future. So he just marches forwards. Also playing more stuff. Found Time of Legends. So this is where I make that consideration to play into Hook. I have the option to step my Beastmaster here, and then, so let's think about this turn slightly. So I have the option to step my Beastmaster here, Forest here, drop a creature here, and then it blocks the hook line from my Beastmaster. But again, I'm thinking Hook is inevitable. I want to set up something where it doesn't matter. I also want to develop this Grove Guardian aggressive. If I don't drop it aggressive, it's just kind of sitting here doing nothing. So this play right here, this plays into a Grappling Hook, but it plays out of the teleport range. So this is a decent hook line for him because he gets to clear the Beastmaster. But I'm completely fine with it, and I actually want him to do that because it burns the Grappling Hook out of his hand, and then I don't have to worry about it anymore. And that's what I want him to do. So this is kind of like a bait into the Hook. But I play around Hook in every other possible line. So he has a hook line onto the Boar here, but Grizzly requires like a buff. And then if he teleports it in here, I guess that is one line, but it's a little bit awkward. He needs a lot of cards to make this an efficient hook line. He'll need like a buff plus plus hook, and then to make it more powerful, maybe like a salamander. That's a little bit expensive though. But yeah, I feel like if he has hook, he wants to take this trade, which I just want to get that out of hand. And then the Aridin is set up in a position where it can eventually fight. So he does do the hook. Really happy about that. That's out of hand. Sets up an aggressive creature. Yeah, I won the tourney. This is the finals right now that I'm watching. Oh, okay, so let's think about this trade. So I have the option, I double neutral, because obviously I want to hit face, but I have the option to put the neutral here, because I know that, there's no reason to step this 3/3 up into range. Of it, like, this boar probably will hit face anyways, and then I can step it up and hit. But where I place the second neutral, like, I have the option to put it here because I know that inevitably I'm going to step this up and hit in. But I think this spot is a lot stronger because it plays around a good salamander line. It makes it really awkward to find a good salamander line. Like, if he manages to get a special land in here, it makes my life a little bit more challenging. Because I really want to flood the board with a lot of creatures over here. And I can't do that if he's got a salamander land. So I think that this is a pretty good land spot to take. There's a lot of green-red beast decks. Are there? I honestly haven't seen any before. This is the first time I've seen a green-red. Oh, no. Cheese played one a long time ago in a tournament against me. But yeah, I don't think it's a very... Like it's an okay archetype, I guess. But, you know, I don't... Like, I've tried playing around with it, but it's never worked for me. Okay, skip ahead a little bit. I think actually Amoeba finds a pretty good line here. Oh, so one thing I need to point out, because this was an important line. Well, anyways, so when I step the boar up here, it's important not to hit in, because if I hit in, this has 3 life, and then the Grizzly gets an easy trade here. So not hitting in means this is taunted, and then, like, it's really awkward because this 3/3, he doesn't really want to do much with it, but now it's blocking any sort of hit with the Grizzly. So that was really important to not hit in, I think. Yeah, so he finds a pretty good line. Buff into hunt down into value trade. Really strong turn there for him. Hunt down lets you get some really, really efficient trades. So one thing, I am forced to build this land now because I chose to put the neutral here, but I still think that it's important because of that salamander spot. Interesting. So I looked at the Amoeba's list. He posted it on the hub now, if you guys want to look at it. I was kind of expecting to see Crackthorn because he was on Crackthorn lands, but turns out he didn't run it in the list. Also, when I put this Tyrian Golem aggressive, I did that because, like, I could have put it defensive to defend this boar, but I knew I had the Stalker in hand to do that, and I just want face pressure right now. And then also I know that once Aridin trades in, that Stalker's very efficient. We do an Oakling feed, get a massive Willow. These are the best possible cards I could ask for because I've got just enough Faeria to play everything. So we're gonna clean up that boar, drop this big taunty boy, and then I hit into the Reveler because I don't want him to get buffs. I don't want him to get really big value on that Reveler. And the second neutral I place here because, again, I'm just blocking salamander lines, which I think is really, like, these double neutrals were really efficient this game, I feel. He didn't actually seem to have Salamander in hand, but Salamander could have been a little bit of a swing. Yax is pretty fun. So he does get a really nice hit with that 7-1 into the golem, but the 7-13's difficult to deal with. Amoeba finds a good answer, or like a decent answer here. Unfortunately, I find a better answer. So Beast Trainer. I do like the idea of like Beast Trainer with like salamander things, but it's kind of awkward with the Ancient Boar. So he finds Apex Predator. Really exciting to see. That's a 10-16. So I'm thinking, alright, that's going to be a little bit awkward. But we top deck the Voice of Truth. So, not so concerned anymore. I'm going to take this 5 hit here. I'm playing a little bit carefully still because, you know, something could happen, but really unlikely Amoeba finds anything to deal with this. I paid Abracam. I mean, with this Apex on board, I think that I still could have won. Because, like, if you think about this, like... So I would do this play regardless. I guess he has a trade here. Yeah, I guess, yeah, it would be a little bit more difficult. So without Voice of Truth, I just drop the Ancient Boar. Which would be 5-6. I could hit in. I don't know, I still think it would be difficult for him to win from this position. I have him down to such high life, and I've got all of these lands in my place. He had Hook in hand. Yeah, Hook's really irrelevant. Because there's no way that he can block his face from stuff. Like, if I didn't play the Voice of Truth, I would have just played Ancient Boar or something else. But anyways, I think he just surrenders here. He does some fun grappling hook things. Alright. Game 2. I expect that he plays... So he plays the red Angry, which I think is a mistake. I think, like, the red-yellow is his best chance. But I guess he's confident that Angry... I guess, like, Angry things trade up in stats. Maybe. I guess, like, Firebringers can sort of fight with the Titans, with the green Titans. But yeah, I'm pretty confident about this matchup. Also with Voice of Truth to deal with the Firebringers. I don't lose my pressure if I kill the Willow, though. That's the thing. It's because I can just keep dropping stuff at his face. He can come back, but... I think this match is over pretty quick. I have the early Aridin, which is nice. By the way, so I started... So, like, all of the games so far I've started side, but I start center because I don't want to invest in one side yet. I want to make sure that my Aridin can fight to kill it off. This Axe Grinder makes me happy to see because Aridin trades really efficiently. So I just step the Aridin in range. No reason to be passive. I want to get that value as soon as possible so I can start dropping other creatures. He finds Bomb Slinger. I have a really efficient... So I have a really efficient thing here with Deepwood Stalker, which is now a 3/5. I can kill this, and then I can drop a Living Willow to taunt to stop all of his collection. But I'm considering going to the opposite side to play around Firestorm. So if I put Stalker here and then Willow here, that plays around Firestorm a little bit, but I realize that it doesn't really matter. Like, this Living Willow has got 8 life. Firestorm can't even kill it. So if he does Firestorm, like, he's on 8 Faeria next turn. So if he wants to do a full clear, he's going to have to Firestorm plus Cypher's Wrath and then play nothing. And then I've got a Tyrian Golem follow-up for the next turn. Or Grove Guardian. So I realize it doesn't matter. I'd rather get this double collection spot, which is also, like, just contesting all of his mountains. So I'm not super concerned. I guess, yeah. not really concerned with many things here. I think going to opposite side would be a mistake because it relieves the pressure off of him a little bit. Those aggressive lands are really important. But he does find the Firestorm, Cypher's Wrath, but that's probably the best possible line for me because I get to drop that Tyrian Golem uncontested, and that's 11 life for red to work through. A little bit difficult, so there's a surrender. Curious seeing the exact list and hear your point of view choice. Okay, I can go through my deck lists after. Just briefly. I'll talk about that after. So this is the last match, which I'm, again, pretty confident in winning. Red-yellow's pretty easy matchup, especially with no Nightmare. So Willow Boar is an interesting keep because there's value there. But I realized that this is... So, again, I guess I can talk about the deck list after, but this is a really good full scoop to try and draw either Aridin or Beastmaster. I throw away a starting creature, but this deck has a pretty easy time getting creatures on the board. It's very creature heavy, so it's fine to toss away one starting creature just for the risk of trying to get Beastmaster or Aridin, which is a ridiculous start. Which I do find the Beastmaster. There's like so many creatures that you can draw into with this deck. Not keeping Willow Boar is ballsy. I don't think it's that ballsy though. And also, yeah, it can be risky with a 2-0 lead. But I don't think it's that ballsy because I know my list. And I know how easy it is to draw those creatures. Because Beastmaster... So I did know that he ran Firebomb, because I saw that in the... I watched a bit of the stream before this match. So Firebomb was one answer to the Beastmaster. But he started with double yellow, so I don't need to worry about that just yet. Easy develop my creature. There are some mistakes that I made in this match, for sure. I think Amoeba could have gotten a foothold here. So I draw the time, but time is really awkward into this the eventually 6-4, because Aridin's only a 3-3. I think, I don't know, it's debatable, but I think the best play here was developing the Grove Guardian, just to keep a collector. It can also contest the stats here and survive, because it becomes a 6-7. But I decided to go for Aridin. I keep the Explorer in hand because I've got that Grove color. So I feel like this will be a nice little like surprise Explore Forest teleport if he decides to step up or something. But I think Grove Guardian was a little stronger. Aridin's awkward stats, and he's on Firebomb lands now. So I'm going to lose that value on the Grove Guardian. Well, no Firebomb, but he finds Eel Flameburst, which is not the worst. I mean, that costed him 9 Faeria to kill the Beastmaster. Yeah, I can explain the Aridin after this match. Training move would be GG. Yeah, I don't think... so he posted this list to the hub before. So I knew what was in the list. It was actually a little bit different, but I knew there was no... Or I thought there was no trainings. But Aridin was a mistake in my opinion. I should have played the Grove Guardian. I do have a teleport line now to deal with this. It's not very clean because, again, this is 3 attack. Everything on board here is 4 life. He has Fnatic in this list. I don't think his old list had Fnatic, so I wasn't playing around it. But I should have played around it in this game. Yeah, so I teleport because, I mean, I'm kind of forced to at this point. This is the game plan that I've invested in. But it makes my next play really awkward. I think I make a misplay here. So what I should do here, in my opinion, the Stalker is... sorry, wait, what do I do here? Oh, I want to feed I want to feed this 2-4 because those stats are just bad on the board. I find Beastmaster. So I can Beastmaster Stalker, making it a 4-6. I think my original plan was to Stalker the rest of this life, but Beastmaster should kind of change my idea here. I'm kind of roping also, so I don't have enough time to think of this, but like Stalker Boar is just such a solid play. I throw the 4-6 into the 6-1, which feels terrible. So the play there should have been possibly Stalker on this forest, Stalker the Mistral Guide, get that out of the way, and then put the Boar behind as backup. And then like the Boar is protected by the weakened Stalker. Even if there's a removal spell here, the 6-1 can hit into the Boar. And then it's better value than the Stalker just dying for no reason. I could have fed the Aridin, that's true. Yeah, so that was a misplay by me, but I think that I can establish a really good board here with that Grove Guardian in hand. I'm looking to set the Grove Guardian in double collection between the wells. There's no real reason to step my Boar up into range of this. I mean, I can just let him come to me and then build that land. Decide to trade off the Beastmaster instead of get value with it. I think that this is just such an efficient trade. And I don't need the Beastmaster anymore. He's already kind of done his job setting up this Grove Guardian. Like I think keeping this double collection spot is important, more important. Like he could have cleared this with that 6-4. So I think hitting in the Beastmaster was a good play there. Could have traded with Voice of Truth. Oh, so that's another thing. Yeah, I didn't know of the interaction of Voice of Truth with the Explorer. I did consider that could be a thing, but then I was like scrolling over the card text, trying to like think of the logic behind it, and I felt that it would like not reduce the stats because the lands are already on the board, but apparently Voice of Truth works that way. What happened was the better play. Yeah, that's true. I think even knowing that interaction, this was the better play because Voice of Truth kind of isn't very good stats. It would be a 3-7, and I really need 4 damage in this matchup. 3 damage is a little bit pointless. So here, I think the casters were thinking that this, like maybe I should have put the Tyrian Golem right side, but I don't know. In my opinion, I think this was still a good spot. It secures my double collection because he could easily find a clear here. And then I lose my double collection, and I've just got this Tyrian Golem here, which he can just retreat his eel. So like I think it's important to just secure this double collection. There's not much I can do about this this turn. But I built this neutral because of teleport. I've already played 1 teleport. I only got 1 left, but there's nowhere really that beneficial to put the neutral. I guess I could block my face with it, but I think that this is a decent neutral spot for teleport. Alright, let's skip ahead a little bit. So he finds Garridan, which is like a little bit awkward for him. He loses all of that 10 Faeria investment. I think he's decided that he needs to go aggressive if he wants to win this because I just win the value match in the end. What are the options here? Like the only card I can really play is Grove Guardian here. Stalker doesn't do anything. Voice of Truth doesn't do anything. So I'm looking to where I want to put this Grove Guardian. Definitely want to do something about this. I think this is an okay spot. I could have Grove Guardianed the center space to block the face hit, but I knew that taking a face hit wasn't that important. I'm on 20 life, and he doesn't get to develop any aggressive lands by hitting face because of my land setup. This prevents the Garridan from hitting in, which I guess doesn't matter that much. I mean, he can hit both in if he wants. So I stepped up the Tyrian Golem here because I didn't want him to find some sort of clear. So if the Grove Guardian was on the forest, I didn't want him to find some sort of clear by collecting and hitting in. I know that this collection always happens. So like if he finds some clear on the Grove Guardian and he wants to hit the Garridan into the Tyrian Golem, he doesn't get any more collections from doing that. Also, if he steps here for a collection, I get to step down, double collect, and trade. So that's why I stepped up the Tyrian Golem. Yeah, if he gets an aggressive land, I think he can come back. Stepping Golem up, it was obvious that he would go face. But I mean, but also why? Like I want this Guardian is gonna stay double collecting, I think. Like I don't see any way that he develops an aggressive land here. Like he has to build this land, and like if the Golem stays here, then what else is it doing? Just stepping here? I guess to like contest the Gary. I guess so. My thought was like he finds hit into like Cypher's Wrath or something, and to Gary hit into Flame Burst, and then he clears my double collection. Maybe he even just like clears this, finds Spirit Theft, but I mean then his board is gone, but I get an awesome trade with Gary if he goes face. Oh, you're thinking if I stepped the Golem here. Oh, okay. Actually, yeah. Oh, okay, I see that. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, fair enough. I should have stepped Golem onto the neutral. Find another Golem. Yeah, I agree. So yeah, stepping the Golem onto that neutral that tried earlier was the better play. So I'm going to threaten face with this Grove Guardian. Plays into Copter, I guess, but Copter's kind of, I don't know, doing whatever. I play the Tyrian Golem. I'm aware that he can like sidestep, hit face, play a land, and play a creature to block, but I feel like playing Willow just doesn't do anything here. He just hits into it and kills it eventually. I guess I could have like stopped the aggressive land by doing that and like just played Tyrian Golem next turn, but I know that I can play the Willow next turn at least. Yeah, this could have been a lot clearer to be my game if I had stepped the Golem. So he plays the Grove Guardian that he stole from me with the Spirit Theft. So this one's pretty obvious, just clear the Grove Guardian and then set up the Willow to taunt. But I think that the taunt should definitely go on this spot. I heal, not making the mistake of Saturn's game from the last tournament. I heal because so like he can find Origin Fanatic here to hit face. So that's why the Willow should be on this spot instead. Might have even like found a win to the game because of that line. Because he could find like double Flame Burst in the future. But he does have to deal with this 7-2 at face also. That's another thing. So that's 7-2 is a 2-turn lethal. Just gonna do an Oakling feed thing here. I find the 8-10 Stalker, so we're gonna Stalker the 8-4 so that I can step this Tyrian Golem on the land, and then I can also Voice of Truth the Golem so that he stays on the land, and so there's a surrender. So yeah, that's it. And I think that that went pretty much the way you could imagine, though, because like mono green is so good against that lineup. I think that was a ban that he should have made. So let's talk about the deck lists. I have them all posted on Hub. So again, I pointed this out, but if you're a newer player, this is a really excellent resource. Faeria.com/the -hub/decks. Really awesome resource for new players. So you guys wanted to know about my like Beastmaster considerations. So this is the list. I had a like that green teleport list that I made, which I really liked. If you guys saw my guide video for that, and that was a cool deck. But I was bringing this deck specifically as a counter to certain decks that were in the meta that were annoying. Yeah, so I brought this as a counter to mechs because I despised mechs. Those were really annoying to fight, and I felt that a lot of people were playing them now. Also, red-yellow things like that Soul Eel deck. Angry, red, like mono-red Angry was a thing that people were playing. Red-yellow Angry was a thing people were playing. So this was a counter deck to all of that. It was a counter to Burn. Also, not many people playing Frogify or Last Nightmare anymore. Just humbling. I mean, Frogify is still played a little bit. But Nightmare's not played a lot. There's a lot of yellow tempo and a lot of like yellow dual color hybrids. So yeah, I didn't think that that was a big concern. And I built this very creature heavy because again, for those counters, like mechs, you just want to kind of... like, if I can swarm the board with big stuff, mechs is going to struggle a lot. Like, they won't be able to get the cannon carriers down very easily. Burn, just swarm the board with big life-statted stuff, and Burn just loses. I mean, Burn wasn't a huge consideration. It was just the mechs, and lack of Last Nightmare, and... even like yellow tempo, or like the yellow, mono yellow husk, I felt that this deck would actually do really strong against because that deck doesn't run Last Nightmare. And I put in the 2 Voice of Truths because there was a ton of stuff that I felt this deals with. It deals with Monk. It deals with Firebringer, which isn't that important. What were the other things? There was some other things that I was considering. Oh, like Soul Eater was a thing. Like Lizard was playing Soul Eater against me on the thing. So Soul Eater was a thing that I could potentially see. Yax was a thing. I knew Noah was playing Yax. So I knew Voice of Truth would be good there. So yeah. So because this was very creature heavy, that's why I wanted Aridin. I felt Aridin was actually super important because of that. And there's not a lot of other legendaries you want to run, really, anyways. Like, I think Shozen is really good in mono green because of teleport. Duardia is pretty decent because it gets to just collect value. Runin sucks. But yeah, so like there's not many options for legendaries. Aridin's really strong here. So I want the Time of Legends to draw into it as soon as possible. And if you get early Aridin, you kind of just win games a lot of the time. Emperor's Command is for a couple things. Like the heal is not that important usually because Burn you have such a good matchup on. I guess like the heal is like something, but the -2, -1 pairs really nicely with Deepwood Stalker. Also the 3 structure damage deals with Husk, which I was thinking that this would actually be kind of a Husk counter in some ways. I have the Singular Oakling because this just makes my starting creature count 9, I think. So my starting creatures are Aridin, also Time of Legends, plus the Oakling, that's 3. Then we've got Beastmaster, and then we've got Living Willow. So that gives me 9 starting creatures, which I think is really important because it lets me be a little bit greedy with the mulligans. I also have Grove Guardian, which can sub as a starting creature. So yeah, just like the Oakling lets me be greedy with mulligans. I think Oakling is fine. Like Oakling Feed lets me get a really big thing, which again, like Nightmares aren't used. Yeah, so that's pretty much Beastmaster. I think the other decks I've kind of already talked about in my guide videos. I haven't talked about Green Blue Jump. So Green Blue Jump, this is an interesting list because it's not very standard to the standard green blue, I think. It's very swarmy with 12 starting creatures actually. Triton Warrior, Water Ellie, Battletoads, and Triton Trainer. So again, this lets me be greedy on the mulligan. I don't have to keep anything if I don't want, and it's pretty much a guarantee that I'll get a starting creature. Usually you want at least 2 starting creatures anyways, though, because buffs kind of take a while to get to. But this is very... I added in the extra starting creatures, not so much for the starts, but because they're Tritons, to pair with Tide Lord. And also, Triton Trainer is actually pretty solid. Like, it's like a Outland Ranger, in a way. You can buff your Ninja Toads, you can buff these Tide Lords to be 7/7s, which is pretty devastating. So this is very much like a blue, like a mono blue list, but just with green sort of splashed in there for Frog Tosser and buffs. But I think buffs are very strong. So that's why I have those. The Crassius list I have changed a little bit since my guide video. I have 3 Lore Thief in here now instead of the Water Ellies. I also have only 2 Humbling Vision instead of 3 because I have so much draw now. I feel like 3 is kind of unnecessary. Lore Thief is a really important starting creature. There's not a lot of starts to this deck, and the draw helps you draw combo pieces faster. I found also that starting with Crassius isn't actually that good because it just dies off. So sometimes I even like mulligan away Crassius because it's just kind of a bad starting creature. And there's so many ways to draw into it later. Really, in my opening hand, I want to see either Lore Thief or Rakoan Recruiter. Octopus is also a starting creature. Rune and Shrine, of course, is just for extra Faeria for the combo. Octopus is really good at defending. It can be anything. So like against mono green, you can make it a 7/3. Against red, you can make it a 3/7. Almost never pick jump with that in this list. Oh, why not Humbling with the green-blue jump? Yeah, I was debating this. Like, it was a hard debate for me whether to pick Humbling or Frogify, and I'm still unsure about it. Like, I think Humbling is a lot stronger in most cases because it's 2 lakes, and this is really expensive land requirement. But I ended up going for the Frogifies because of Krog, and just, like, some things to transform is necessary for, like, well, mainly Krog, but maybe, like, Monk. You can, like, just stop a Monk early before it gets off, like, a training Flashwind line, or, like, the Yellow Spectre, Blightborn Spectre. I just felt that... So, like, I'm still on the fence about this, but I think Frogify just helps me deal with answers that I can't deal with. And then I've got these buffs in the meantime that I can use instead of the Humbling Vision. So I don't know. That was just kind of my considerations there. The beasts, I actually changed all of these lists since my guide videos were released, but just minor changes. The only changes I made to this one was I added in a Tiki Zoologist, and I added in Aurora. And then I took out 1 Stalker because I felt like Stalker was actually kind of a bad card. Stalker's kind of not that good a lot of the time. Like, 2 damage is not that powerful. I mean, you can find uses, but like, you want to deal 2 damage and then you want the Stalker to survive to gain any value. And I find that this was a bit awkward to happen sometimes. And what I was looking for was another starting creature slot because I only had 8 starting creatures. And I didn't want to bump up to 3 Grizzlies because I don't think Grizzly's that good a card. It's really solid, but I don't think I want 3 because that's a bit too much clunk in my hand. So I felt that the Tiki Zoologist was the perfect 9th starting creature. It gives a little bit of tech. So you might be able to find a beast that, like, you might be able to find Salamander for a good line, or like an Ice Rock Behemoth. Just this can find so many good tech cards. Even Monkey Genius is okay as a tech card. And then because wait, I dropped this. What else did I drop? Oh, I dropped a Guidance because... Why did I drop Guidance? Well, I wanted to add Aurora, so I guess that's why I dropped Guidance, because Aurora was like... it gives stats already. I'm still unsure about Aurora because I don't think Aurora is that good in this list because everything's so chonky. I mean, there are targets for it, like there's Water Ellie, there's the Zoologist now, there's Stalker if it survives, and also if just these, like if Grizzly takes a few hits, then Aurora's an okay target there. I really do like the Humbling paired with Stalker, or Humbling paired with Frog Tosser. That's a really nice sort of combo. It's expensive, but like 6 Faeria to take out a 5/5 and then have a creature survive, like that's pretty solid value. That's like a nightmare, but then have a creature survive. I guess that's okay value. But yeah, I really just wanted that extra starting creature because I felt a lot of my hands were a little bit clunky. Well, not always, but there's the odd time where I just draw a really awful starting hand. And I don't think it's necessary to draw an awful starting hand. The Zoologist is really nice. But alright, I think that's it for the analysis. Yeah, so if you're watching this on YouTube, thanks for watching. Again, I've posted all of my deck lists and my unedited matches in the description, so be sure to check that out. And thanks for watching.